Hello there, friends. So today we're going to take a look at a game called Experimentation. There's kind of a mixed review scenario going on here on Steam with this game, but the description really kind of got me interested in it. It's supposed to be a thriller horror type story. It's probably very non-interactive on our part, so I'd probably get to spend the next half an hour or so, which is the expected playtime, telling you a story, or 5 stories to be more precise. One thing I will note before we go any further is that the developers of this game, Faithy Games, provided me with a key for this, and in providing me with this key, they cautioned me and everyone else that was given keys for this that if you are depressed or not in the right state of mind, this is probably not something you want to interact with right now, and to save it for a time when you're in a better state of mind or a better mood to be able to handle something. I'm not sure what that means as of yet, because I've never played it before. We're going into this blind, so we'll see how it goes. But I have to say I'm probably never in the right state of mind for anything, so this is as good a time for me as any. One thing that I will note before we get started is that a lot of people said that the game starts up in Russian, and that was not the case for me. The game actually picked up my language preferences right off the bat, but if you did need to change it, preferences here, change between English, French, and I'm guessing that's Russian. And another weird thing that I noticed is the sound that you're hearing in the background, which would be the, I'm sure you're hearing it. Yep. Actually, I've muted the desktop audio, so I'm going to unmute the desktop audio. Turn it down a little bit, because I don't usually use desktop audio. But you'll be hearing some waves come in. And what I thought was sound volume, and I was adjusting the sound volume, was having no impact whatsoever on the wave sound. Oddly enough, the wave sound, which kind of caught me off guard, is actually under the music volume. So if you're trying to figure that out, whatever the wave sound is, it's actually music, not sound. So I'm going to keep that turned down a little bit, because for me, it's extremely loud and really non-productive to what we're doing. But we've got 5 stories to get through. Shouldn't take a terribly long amount of time. We'll get through these, see what we think of it. I will say, if you feel that you appreciate what the developers are doing, even if based on some of the mixed reviews that I've seen on it, you don't necessarily like this particular subject, they do have some other offerings that may be more to your liking. They have one about cats and another one about a murder scene or some kind of stalker scene going on, so more of a thriller. This one's supposed to be a psychological horror, which drew me to it pretty easily. So definitely check that out and pick up all their offerings. It's always nice to help an independent developer who's trying. So if you believe in what they're trying to do, then I'll put a link in the description to this. And based on that from Steam, you can actually just click on their name and get to any of their other stuff. I'll probably want to check out the one about cats sometime soon, too. Seems interesting. Didn't get much detail on that one. I just was offered this one and went ahead and took it. But without any further ado, let's get started. So we're going to click on the story, which is Mirror. And there are 5 achievements for this, which I'm assuming are make it through all 5 stories. And the 5 stories are not supposed to be related, so we'll see how that works out. And I guess they're going to teach us some life lessons, and maybe they will scare us a little bit. If you click on the little figure down here, it takes you to one of their other games. It doesn't open in this window, so I can't show it to you. But let's get started. And I'm not sure if it reads it or I'm going to read it to you. So either I'm going to tell you a story or it's going to tell you a story, and I'm going to kind of react to it. But there's very little involvement from me. So I really need something to do. So I hope I get to tell you. So here we go. Story 1. The Mirror. Oh, come on. I slammed my fist hard against the wall, trying to make the sharp pain distract me. It didn't do much, so I struck again. Are you all right there? So they'd heard me, even from downstairs. I cursed quietly and flopped down on the bed, not dignifying her with an answer. It's hard to call me a balanced person, but today was a crash test of my nerves. First, I got in a fight in college. It's not the first time. This time it wasn't an empty case. Stepped in for the girl. She had a fight with her boyfriend, that jerk, and he inflamed my sense of justice, played a cruel joke. That's an odd bit of turn of words there. One thing that somebody that I saw, a couple of people actually complained about in the comments, is it looked like a lot of the dialogue was put together by AI, so maybe that might play into it. But then again, it could also just be translation jankiness. We beat each other to the blood, but instead of gratitude, she only took pity on him and they got back together. But now I am threatened with expulsion because I do not have such rich parents who can get away with it. And again, it's an odd turn of the phrase there, but we kind of get the meaning of it. And at dinner, instead of taking my side, my father only scolded me and my mother only agreed with him. I had to stop eating and go upstairs. Can you call yourself honest if the world is unfair and you play by its rules? That's a good question. I mean, if you're viewing the world as unfair to you and you're trying to play by its rules, are you being true to yourself? Annoyed, I dialed the number of my only friend. I wanted to go for a walk with him, but even he refused me today, saying he had some business to attend to. Do you think my problems are far-fetched? Sometimes I have thought about it myself, but every time I have come to the conclusion that only the person himself can determine the significance of problems for himself. I guess that's a know thyself sort of situation. And when someone says, I wish I had your problems, it's nothing but showmanship and self-importance. That's not always true. I mean, you never know what somebody's going through. And this guy getting into a fight and having a bad day, there are people who would wish that that was the only problem they had, of course. Seems this person is very caught up with themselves, too. Today, I was decidedly not in the mood to dialogue with my parents. Playing on the computer was not something I wanted to do, and the outing is screwed up. I stood up and walked over to the large mirror that stood in the corner of the room. Some relatives gave it to our family a long time ago. I wasn't interested. And now it naturally stands in my room. There's nowhere else to put it. I hadn't used it since, and I'd forgotten it even existed. The bruise was still under my eye. That jerk got more. I think I broke his nose. He was crying like a girl. Where's my life going? A shaggy-haired guy with stubble, angry eyes, and flushed cheeks looked back at me from the mirror. I seemed more angry with myself than with anyone else. The mirror was so dirty it had a layer of dust already imprinted on it. And that's my impression too, is that this person is probably misdirecting their anger of themselves at everything else around them and projecting on everything, so I brought my finger up to rub it, but instead of the expected hard surface, it was soft. What the hell? Like vicious jelly, I was able to press down on the mirror and my fingers sank into it. Not regular mirror behavior. It enveloped me, sucking me deeper and deeper inside. I've had enough. I tried to pull my fingers out, but surprisingly, the mirror wouldn't let go. The wrist was already inside, the thick consistency. It was cold, like shoving your hand into a snowdrift. That's definitely no good. I jerked my hand as hard as I could. To my horror, nothing happened. I was only sucked in harder. The hand was already inside, or was inside already, up to her elbow, her shoulder. and completely gone. So I'm a little confused. Is it a she or a he? Or is it just an ambiguous pronoun that it can't quite figure out? Mom, Dad, somebody. Panic grew, and I screamed with all my might. I don't know if anyone downstairs heard me or not, but the mirror had already reached my head. I breathed in with all my lungs and squeezed my eyes shut. Darkness engulfed my whole body. I felt a chill over my body and some kind of downward pull. However, the sensation suddenly stopped. I was afraid to open my eyes, but soon my lungs were burning, and I opened my mouth and inhaled. Nothing. I think I'm alive. I slowly opened my eyes. Whew. Same room. I stand in front of the mirror, red as a lobster, trying to catch my breath. Another flight of fancy, nothing new. I walked over to the mirror and brushed the dust off the hard surface, leaving a greasy trail. Something seemed strange, though, but I couldn't figure out what it was. This fierce obsession sobered me immediately, and I decided to have lunch after all. I went downstairs and my parents were in the kitchen watching TV. Why are they watching TV in the kitchen? Transition to the kitchen. I hope I didn't scare you with my screaming. My parents jumped up on the spot and looked at me in amazement. Screaming? Did something happen? I didn't hear anything. When did you get back from college? I thought you were still in class. No, you and I were talking when I got back. I also refused to eat. My parents looked at each other excitedly. My mom came over and touched my forehead. It's a little hot, but it shouldn't be feverish. Are you sure you're not sick? Why don't you lie down? I'm not sick. What's the matter with you? I'm not crazy. I was here half an hour ago telling you about college. What's that, a bruise? You got into a fight? Yeah, I don't get it. You know, I'd better go for a walk. So now here's this transition to the street. Without waiting for an answer, I stormed out of the house. I'm not crazy, am I? I distinctly remember coming back, our conversation. And could there be insanity in two parents at once? Everything outside was strange too, as if it was artificial. I looked at every little thing, but I couldn't figure out what was going on. Maybe I really was sick, immersed in my thoughts. I stepped out into the road and felt something pulling me backwards. Just then a car whizzed by in front of us. Kyle, my best and only friend. Hey, buddy, I see you've had enough of life, huh? At least look around. Yeah, I kind of looked. The car was traveling the opposite direction altogether, not according to the rules, but thank you. What are you talking about? The hell is that jewelry under your eye? Where'd you get that? Yeah, about that. Look, why are you even here? You refused to go out when I asked you. You invited me? You're not sick? You seem strange today. I've heard it too many times lately, but I remember exactly what it was. Maybe dreamed, came home from college tired and dozed off. It happens to me, but in order to catch such glitches, of course, there has not yet been. But in order to catch some glitches, of course, there has not yet been. I don't understand that sentence, but yeah, you're right. It's the only reasonable explanation. So you don't mind taking a walk? Of course not. I don't have anything to do until tonight anyway. We walked around for a few hours, aimlessly hung around the city. In the evening, we went to a fast food restaurant for a burger. It wasn't until I got to the menu sign that I noticed the text. It was unreadable. Looking more closely, I realized the text had been flipped backwards. Kyle, what the hell is this? What are you talking about? Some new burger I don't know about? Oh man, I already ordered. No, I mean the lettering. What did they do to them? What's wrong with them? Well, sort of, they're flipped the other way. Unum, ikat, ru, redro. What's that? Steve, you're scaring me. You can't read or what? You're not taking anything. I lowered my gaze to Kyle's tattoo on his left forearm. It was on his right. My eyes went black. Without saying anything, I turned to leave and ran out of the building. I realized what had been stressing me out about all the time. As I looked around, I realized that the whole world was reflected. Cars were traveling in opposite lanes. All the lettering was upside down. Well, the lettering would be reversed, not upside down. Even the setting sun was hanging in the east. I felt sick and started to vomit. Instinctively, I ran home, unable to see the road. What happened? Was the mirror real? Had I been sucked into it? So what now? Am I in some kind of mirror world? If so, how do I get back? When I touched it, it was already solid. I ran up to the house but stopped short when I saw who was coming in through the front door. It was me, only mirrored. A copy of me walked into the house, probably to tell me how I spent the day, and I could see now why the parents probably about to tell me how I spent the day. I can see now why the parents reacted so strangely. The panic was growing stronger by the second. But what am I supposed to do now? Where do I go? They won't even let me go home. Or they'd send me to a mental institution or a prison. I had no options at all, so I went wherever I was going, trying to realize what was happening. I lost track of time when I stopped at a familiar house. Okay, I don't know what that's supposed to say, but probably a translation error. I guess it's Maya's house. Maya went to college with us. She was known as Witch. She was bullied for her interest in the occult, which she took too seriously. So subconsciously, this is my last hope. I rang the doorbell. A red-haired girl looked out the window and then appeared on the threshold. Perplexity was written on the face because we didn't even say a couple of words at college to each other. Steve, is that you? What brings you here? Hey, Maya, I need your help right away. Are you home alone? Alone? But why would I let you in? Are you trying to pull another prank on me? Prank? What? No, I mean, I don't know what's going on with you in this reality, but I've never directly hurt you. We really haven't even talked. In this reality? No, it's definitely a prank. Swear if it is not. Oh my God, come on. Can't you see I'm not in the mood for jokes? Let me in quickly. All right. Take it easy. Come on in, but take your shoes off. I quickly slipped in behind her. She had a small house, but it was clean and cozy, not unlike mine. It didn't look like our witch's hideout. That doesn't look clean and tidy. I thought as we made our way to her private room. A few skulls, some stones, books with incomprehensible texts, tinctures. The spicy odor of candles hit my nostrils as I entered the room. This is exactly how I envisioned your place. I wouldn't be rude if I were you. You're the one who needs help. You're the one who's desperate enough to come to me. You're right. I'm sorry. It's just been so overwhelming. So you're going to tell me what happened or not? If you're like Armai, you should at least listen to me. You may even believe me. The girl sat down in a chair with a prepared cup of tea and stared at me silently. Anyway, I'll tell it like it is. Just don't freak out or try to kill me. I had the worst day of my life today. But things were still within the bounds of normalcy until I touched the mirror in my house. I can't remember where I got it from anymore. Someone gave it to us a long time ago, but the point is, I never used it. It just so happened that I touched it and got sucked inside. I know it sounds weird, but that's what happened. Then I found myself in the same world, but with a mirror image. At first, I didn't understand what had happened. I took it for a vision. It's pretty much like us here, only mirrored. Let's say our Maya is right-handed and you're left-handed, judging by the way you're holding the cup. So here we go. I expected a reaction, but it was as if the girl wasn't embarrassed at all. And how's it going? How's what? Transition. You said you were sucked in. How did you feel when you were inside the mirror? Seriously, is that all you care about? Okay, that was cold, scalding cold, like being dropped in a winter snowdrift and pulled inside. I tried to get free, but it clung to me and wouldn't let me go. Like quicksand, the more I resisted, the more I was sucked in. Interesting. You're definitely more crazy Maya than ours. And what, all the people here are exact replicas of people from your world? Exactly. First I talked to my parents, who were surprised I was already back from college, and then I went for a walk with Kyle. I ran away from him when I saw the signs upside down in the restaurant, and when I got home, I saw myself walking into my house. I just didn't know where to go. Please, you have to believe me. The girl finished her drink and picked up one of the books from the floor, flipping through the pages thoughtfully. This mirror, it looks something like this? Hell yeah, that's it. I'm not sure about all the patterns, but the general shape is exactly the same. I need to know for sure. All right, so be it. You know what's wrong with me? There's a mention of him here. The mirror can transport to alternate worlds, as you said, if its owner is in severe mental distress and wishes with all his soul to change his life. It gives him a reflection of reality where many things are reversed. I mean, it's really happening. I haven't lost my mind. Definitely not. I believe you. What am I supposed to do now? How do I go back? So you want to go back? What am I supposed to do here? My life is lived by a completely different person. All my acquaintances know not me, but that other me. But you're so dissatisfied with life. You could start over, run away, somewhere. No, definitely not. I want my life back. I want my life back. I like my life, maybe not always, but it's mine. A good attitude, it's one of the 3 components you'll need to get back. But you only have one day. One day, how's that? And then what? And then you'll stay in our world forever. The way back will be eroded and sealed. No. This is all kinds of nonsense. You said it's one of the components. And the other 2? The second is a special potion that will ease your transition and help keep your mind and body intact. I have all the ingredients. I can make it now within an hour. And the third thing I need is the mirror itself. The mirror itself? How do I get it to you? I have no idea. It'll be nightfall soon enough. Sneak into your house and get the mirror and bring it here. Are you crazy? Even if I drag it out, how am I supposed to steal it? I don't know. It's your house. If you don't want to go, don't go. Then you'll stay here forever. Damn it. All right, I'll get you a mirror. You prepare the forward potion. I'm not going to stay in this world. As you wish. Don't take too long. It had long since gotten dark outside. I got dressed and left the witch's house. Okay, why do we get dressed and leave the witch's house? Okay, never mind. I'm not going to read into that. I jogged towards my house. Would I be able to steal from myself? Is it stealing from yourself? I mean, even in an alternate universe, it's still your stuff, but it's not your stuff. It's, what a paradox. If this Steve's routine is the same as mine, he should have gone to bed by now, just like the pseudo-parrots. As I approached the house, I made sure the lights were indeed off everywhere. The house keys, I'd forgotten to take them. I guess it wouldn't be a good idea to show up in the middle of the night. I have to climb in unconventional ways from the side of the house. I was able to reach the second floor window to my room. I had practiced before when I was on house arrest as a kid and had to sneak out of my room to go for a walk. So like a professional thief, I reached the window and quietly opened it, trying not to make any noise. I climbed out inside and found myself in my room. My eyes slowly adjusted to the darkness. I looked down at the bed and almost shrieked. It was me, sleeping on the bed. It was expected, of course, but the sight of it horrified me. Next to the bed, there was that unfortunate mirror. Take it quietly and get out. But how would I get it outside? In principle, it could fit through the window, but that would be very inconvenient. And how to get downstairs with it? I didn't think about that. I tiptoed over to the mirror and put both hands around it. It wasn't so heavy that it was uncomfortable not to hold it. And then the bed creaked. I was stunned and frozen in place. My heart sank into my heels as I looked at the bed. My clone was sitting at it, staring at me with burning eyes. We stared at each other for a few seconds, shocked at what you were seeing. Then he jumped up and shouted at the whole house, pointing at me. Thief, thief, there's a thief in the house. Wait, let me explain. But it was too late. The evil clone lunged at me, and I was just in time to put the mirror away when he came at me, started hitting me. I tried to defend myself, but the clone was clearly stronger than me, even with some supernatural strength. A couple of blows knocked the breath out of my chest, and then I flew off to the other side of the room. Wait, I'm not a thief. I can explain everything. I am you. The enraged clone didn't even listen to me. He lifted me up into the air and started slamming me against the cupboard. Is he out of his mind? Adrenaline rushed through my head, and I kicked him in the jaw with a powerful knee strike. He jerked back in surprise, then I slammed my fist into him again, sending him to the floor. There wasn't much time to act. I rushed towards the mirror, but at the last moment, the clone lying there tripped me, and I flew straight into the mirror at full speed. There was a sharp rattling sound. The mirror shattered into pieces, and with it, my last component. My last chance to come back. It's gone. I jumped to my feet, and pushing the bewildered clone aside, almost jumped out the window. I don't know how I got to the ground without breaking a bone or two, but my feet were carrying me down the street. Back to Maya. Where else was I supposed to go? Do I have a choice? She could think of something. No, she has to think of something. I ran without stopping until I was on her doorstep. The door was unlocked. Maya, are you there? Everything's bad. Reacting to the screams, the girl came downstairs. Steve, you're back in a hurry. Where's the mirror? I'm telling you, everything's bad. The mirror's gone. It's broken. How did it break? That's just it. Just like that. What am I supposed to do now? I don't know. I told you it was necessary. All right, well, think. Is there another mirror just like it? There's more than one, right? Even if there is, time is running out. It's going to be impossible to find him. Wait, do you hear that? There were voices outside. They were getting closer. I can hear it. The voices sound so familiar. I looked outside. I was stunned by what I saw. Mom, Dad, Kyle, and me. They all walked together in my direction, as if zombified, repeating over and over again, leave our world, be gone, be gone. Gradually, the other people began joining them, coming out of their homes and joining in the procession. I slammed the door shut and bolted it. I don't understand. It's like they're zombies. Is this how it's supposed to be? I have no idea, but it's definitely not normal. They had already reached the house and began to bang on the door. Upstairs now. My room. Yeah, but what's next? My heart was beating like crazy. What are they going to do to me? Torture me? Kill me? Burn me? The option that they would just help me get back somehow did not occur to me. We went up to the witch's room and locked it up too. It won't buy us much time. Where is there somewhere to hide? I doubt it, but I'm in no danger, so you're the only one that needs to hide. I started pacing around the room looking for any clue. The far side of the room was hidden by a curtain. When I opened it, I saw the same mirror. It had been here all this time. Maya, what's this? Do you have it too? Oh, what are you talking about? Oh, holy Satan, what is that? I didn't have it. It was just junk, nothing else. And this is just like it. Just like in the book. People had already broken down the door to the house and were starting to go upstairs. Be gone, be gone, be gone. Okay, whatever. It's the same mirror, right? Can we do the spiritual of yours with it? Transition. In theory, yes. I don't know who put it there, but it could work. It's the only option you have anyway. Are you sure you want to go back? What do you think? I'm about to be torn apart in here. I'd give anything to have my life back. All right, then drink this. She gave me a bitter potion, but I drank it completely in a gulp. Well done. Now you have to focus on how much you want to come back. Just go ahead, touch it. They've already started breaking down the door. The poor latch won't last much longer. I tried to focus all my thoughts not on the possible consequences that would befall me if I delayed it even a moment, but on my past life. How insignificant those problems seem to me now. When I reached full zen, I touched the mirror. And nothing happened. My fingertips hit the hard, cold surface. Inside the mirror, a frightened, desperate young man stared back at me. It's not working. It's not working, Maya. The girl stared at me in horror. She couldn't say anything, sharing my despair but unable to help. Maya, please, I don't want to die. I want to live. And then I felt the surface begin to change. My fingers dipped inside, feeling the familiar chill. There was a ripple all over the mirror. At that moment, the door to the room was kicked open and a crowd of people piled in with burning eyes pointing fingers at me. Be gone, be gone, be gone, be gone. Maya got in their way, trying to hold them back, but they just pushed her aside with numerous hands. And those hands were reaching for me. I hope she'll be okay, but I have to go home. When you get into your world, find me. Maya shouted one last time as I ducked into the mirror. It would have taken a few seconds. It would have taken a few seconds for the reaching hands to catch up with me. What would have happened then? Best not to check. This time, I didn't hold my breath or close my eyes, but there was still darkness all around me. Had I done something wrong? Maybe I'm not in my world, but somewhere else. Hell, space? Why is it so dark in here? Gradually, my eyes adjusted and I could make out the outline of my room. I'm in my house. It was just nighttime, so I couldn't see anything. The mirror was in its original place, as if nothing had happened. I decided not to push my luck and didn't touch it again. I had to make sure everything was in its place. I switched on the light and opened the first book I could find. All the words were in the right order, from left to right. I did it. I'm back. Well, tomorrow I'll go and thank Maya in this world. I don't know how, but we did it. Unable to contain my emotions, I ran downstairs. I heard a faint sound in the cabinet next to the kitchen. It was strange. Usually everyone was asleep at this time. Once inside, I found my mom there, sitting in semi-darkness at the table. Without going into questioning, I just walked over and hugged her. Hey, honey, what's wrong? Is everything okay? It's fine, Mom. Everything's fine now. I'm sorry I acted like that today. In fact, sometimes I act like, an asshole. Mom grinned and stroked my head. Why else would you have kids? Why else would you have kids? It's okay if you can draw the right conclusion from it. That's the most important thing. Would you like some herbal tea? Yeah, I think I need to calm my nerves. I sat down at the table and Mom went to pour a cup of tea. When she turned sideways, her earring on her left ear glinted in the dim light. Do you want 2 spoonfuls of sugar or 3? For me, the usual. Got it. But I drink tea without sugar. She must have known that. She had to. Mom, why did you move the earring? What do you mean, darling? Well, you usually wear it on your right ear. She stopped and put the cup down. Her grin showed in the dim light of the lamp. I felt uneasy. I threw a glance in the direction of the exit. My father was standing there, latching the door. What's going on? I don't understand. You didn't think you could escape so easily. I screamed as loud as I could. She held out her hands, which began to lengthen in size until they closed around my throat. The end. And we got an achievement for it. Okay, it looks like we... are in a weird menu situation here. All of the words are backwards. So... this one is the mirror. This one is the card. The card. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. Story 2, card. Money rules the world. No matter what anyone says, it is true. As long as capitalism thrives, money can buy anything. What would the skeptics say to that? Contacts? If you have money and a bit of brains, you can get contacts in any sphere. Position, status, hell, please. Love, as soon as you have money, everyone immediately starts loving you. Will it be genuine? Who cares? If you believe in it, then it'll be sincere. And those who say that happiness is not in money are either so desperate that they are trying to justify themselves, or they already have so much of it that it is enough for their own lives and the lives of their children. In any case, it's better to be sad in an endless resort surrounded by beauties than in the gray everyday world in this one-room rented flat in the conveyor belt of endless work for food and minimal needs. This is something I often argue about with my friends, but everyone else stays with their own opinions. And see, this is like a topical story. This is actually pretty on point for concerns that people are having today. That's what I thought as I finished the instant noodles on my break at work. Michael, where the hell have you been? It's time for work. The forms won't fill themselves. Actually, I'm a few minutes overdue. I work for a regular advertising company in the office. It's not the worst job, but the monotony makes me think now and then. My stomach aches from the spicy, unhealthy food that had become my usual snack. The working day ended unchanged. How could it otherwise? But I didn't know how much my life will change. I stayed a little longer to finish up the extra reports that had decided to hang on me. I was on my way out of the building by myself and I missed my bus. Either way, walk home or wait for another bus, I decided to sit and dream. I'm a dreamer by nature. What else can you do if reality is gray and monotonous, no matter who says so? I smoke a cigarette and walk back and forth on the bus stop. As I walked over to throw away my cigarettes, my attention was caught by a small, silvery object on the ground that flew with the flow of the wind to the trash can. Okay, what the hell is that? It looks like a credit card. I looked around and picked it up. It's a simple credit card. Someone lost it, I guess. Looks strange. There was no owner's name, no bank, no expiry date. Okay, I can keep it. There aren't any other people here anyway, and if the owner somehow shows up, I can return the missing item. I put it in my wallet and I forgot about it for the day. A few days later, the weekend came. My friends and I were going to the cinema to see a new blockbuster. On sale was an exclusive figurine of one of the villains of this film, which Rachel, my friend, immediately wanted. I would have been happy to buy it, but I didn't have that much money. I opened my wallet and started counting, hoping to please the girl. And I came across that strange card. What's this? You got a part-time job? No, it's not. I found it in the street and I thought I'd take it. Wait, if there's money in it, did you check it? No, and why would I want to in case the owner shows up? If he hasn't shown up yet, it's yours. Whoever found it can keep it. Let's say, what are you suggesting? Why don't you try to pay her for that figurine? Please? Whatever, let me try. It's not going to work anyway. Why not? We warned the seller that the payment would probably have to be canceled, but to my amazement, the payment went smoothly. I didn't even need a PIN code. The delighted cashier gave me the figurine and I handed it to Rachel. Wow, thank you. I told you so. Yeah, I'll admit I wasn't expecting it myself. How much money is there? I spent the rest of the day thinking about this card. At home, I tried to find information on the internet, but in vain. There's exactly nothing useful about the untitled cards, or none at all. For the sake of interest, I made a few more purchases. I ordered groceries, pizza, sushi to my house with delivery, paid the utilities and rent for the flat, bought a few computer games and a game console and a TV set on half a wall. Payments went through one after another as there were no transaction limits and the balance did not run out. What is it? See, there's strange ways I think this story could go from this point. I mean, you have a card with no limit, or it's not like it's telling you have to pay anything or anything like that, or even asking you for a PIN. But in life, I've always found you have to pay for something. There's always a price. And where is that price going to come from? Is it going to come from you? Is it going to come from your soul? Is it going to come from, your life? Are you spending your life to purchase menial items? It's kind of an interesting concept. Whose card could this be if it's got that kind of money on it? It's got to be some rich guy, a businessman maybe, or the mafia. Won't they come for me on some day? But such thoughts couldn't stop me from finally buying whatever I wanted. How far would I be able to go? One day I discovered a new app on my phone. It's kind of like The mafia may come after me for this, but I don't care. Where did it come from? I didn't download anything like that. The logo had a circle and 2 cross sticks inside of a white background. Basically a cross inside of a circle. Turns out it was an app for my card. Apart from the account number, there was no information about the bank, no matter how hard I looked. Eventually, I just got tired of it, deciding the app somehow appeared on its own when I put the card on to my phone. Some kind of high-tech technology. Who knows? I wasn't greedy, but I didn't shine my card left and right either. I made a lot of gifts for Rachel and my friends. Finally had to tell them about this map because the other options would have looked more ridiculous. Finally had to tell them all about this map. After I've completely furnished my rented flat, I decided it is possible to buy my own flat. Would I have enough money? I've never tried with such large sums of money before. As far as I know, there must be some kind of bank account, and ordinary cards are not designed for large sums. What was my surprise was when I managed to make the payment, and soon I was moving into my own flat. I hired movers, moved all the furniture I'd bought. No more fast food. I ate only in the best restaurants in the city, each time sampling the best dishes from the chefs of different establishments. What a paradise life seemed to me at a moment. At first, I still went to work, but then it was no longer necessary. I transferred a substantial amount of money to my main card for safety, which would allow me to live for the rest of my life in any case. After a week of absenteeism, I turned up at the workplace. My boss glared at me angrily and slammed his fist on the desk, as bosses tend to do. There he is. He's here. I don't even want to hear your excuse. I'm not going to make excuses. To be honest, I didn't even intend to come here. What? Are you out of your mind? Get out. You're fired. So the clerk is firing him. I don't think so. I think you should tone it down when you talk to the owner of the company. Pff, nonsense. Get out of here before I call security. I'll give you a recommendation so good you'll be sweeping up. I'll give you a recommendation so good you'll be sweeping up rubbish for the rest of your life, and anyone won't even hire you. Yeah, let's call security. Security, would you please escort this man out? He doesn't work here anymore. 2 men came in. To my surprise, my former boss, they walked past me. The clerk was taken from both sides and roughly dragged out of the office. No, I don't understand. You're making a mistake. What's going on here? So how do you feel? I mean, given what we've heard of the story so far, the clerk, who also should be boss, is probably justified in being upset that his employee hasn't come into work for a week and told him he was fired, and when he said he wouldn't leave and that he owns the company, probably confused him, and he just wanted to see things right, and then got fired himself, which, I mean, he didn't seem like a nice person, but he certainly didn't seem like a monster. Oh yeah, what a sweet feeling of superiority over this lowlife. For all the years he bullied me, this performance alone was worth it. See, we're missing all the bullying. We didn't get the bullying, per se. Or at least just like a solid sense of it. I bought the whole company just to see the look on his face when they kicked him out. That's pretty much the end of my plan. But why stop? Abandon the company or sell it to the first person who wants it? I could do it myself. I've worked in an advertising company for over 10 years, and I understand its internal processes quite well. In a matter of weeks, I removed all the bosses I didn't like and put in new employees. I doubled the salaries, I put a few people in charge, and I gave the place to my friend Sean, who had just expressed a desire for a job. Now it's pretty much a completely passive business where all I have to do is read and listen to reports and occasionally direct the general course. Now, in addition to a card with an incomprehensible huge amount of money on it, there's also a business bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars. Separately, I've scattered good amounts in bank deposits, stocks, as well as invested in precious materials and cryptocurrency. After arranging all my affairs, I went on vacation to Bali with Rachel. Rachel was the one who bought the stuff for. we started seeing each other. I tried not to think about whether or not it depended on my exorbitant amount spending on her. Of course it did. Basically, we had connected with her quite warmly before, so I didn't see anything impossible in our relationship. We lay on the beach in sun loungers after a professional massage and sipped mojitos through a tube. I don't know who to thank for this, but I feel like I'm in heaven. I hope it's not a wish I made to the genie in my head and then have to pay the price. I hope so. You're very lucky. Yeah, I guess. What's wrong? I thought you were happy. I am, just wondering what to do next. What do you mean, having fun, relaxing, making the best of life? What you're already doing? Well, that's obvious, but no, really my point is, it's cool, but all the fun can get boring, and then what? I don't understand. Excuse me, you're always the one who's talking about money ruling the world and all that. Now you have it, and you're still not happy. Don't get me wrong. I hate everything that I hate everything that I would aspire to do with my views and lifestyle. That is, now the goal is gone. You understand? I think I understand. No, I don't. There's so many countries in the world, so many delicious foods, entertainment. It's so much. You could travel every day and learn something new. You know, I'm not a big fan of traveling. Then find a purpose. That's all. What a problem. But it wasn't as easy as she said. I started hanging out in bars more and more often, addicted to illegal substances, which made me think better. It was an emotion never seen before, and for me now it was a luxury. One day when I was coming home from a bar, I was attacked by two masked men. Beaten up pretty badly. I think I broke a couple of ribs. Why didn't I think of that before? Luckily, I was smart enough not to bring my magic card with me. Thugs only took my personal card where I used to transfer some money. Did someone I knew put them up to it? Or was it the clerk? Although I didn't tell anyone about my magic card, given my extensive shopping, anyone could have found out. Or maybe it was business competitors, but oddly enough, they only took the card, so it must be the card. After that incident, I hired 2 bodyguards, but there were no repeat attacks. I tried to join a gym to learn martial arts, but the classes were so hard on me due to smoking and drinking that I quickly abandoned the idea. I have enough bodyguards. Soon there was a terrorist attack in the city. A group of terrorists with a large consignment of weapons infiltrated our company and demanded the owner personally transfer a 7-figure sum to them. I had to comply with their demands, but they still opened fire. Several people were killed and many were wounded. Then, in the security footage in 2 of them, I recognized the same masked men who attacked me that night. So it was my money they used to buy the guns. I had to increase security throughout the entire facility. I have never felt so depressed in my memory. As Rachel advised, I tried to find a purpose, an occupation. I was not interested in politics. I played all the video games I was interested in online games. I immediately bought donated privileges, and I was quickly bored with them. I decided to try my hand at art. I painted a few pictures, but I didn't like them so much that I didn't even show them to anyone. I tried to write a book. I've always had a wild imagination. I had a hard time building a coherent concept. My mind was always scattered, and I had trouble with the ending at all. But finally, the book was finished. But I did not get any satisfaction either from the process or from the result. Friends reviewed the piece favorably, but sales depended directly on my investment in marketing. Is it really possible to write anything and it will be bought? Then what's the point? I wanted to throw myself against the wall out of boredom and idleness. My friends invited me to a private party to celebrate a holiday. I accepted the invitation without question. It was in my friend Sean's country mansion. In part, he was able to afford it because of my generous contributions. When I got there, everyone was assembled already. We toasted to health, success, and prosperity. Michael, you okay? What's up, man? You look worse than you did when you worked 8 hours a day. How's it going with Rachel? You haven't asked her to marry you yet. Where was the last place you were? Hey, I'm still here. Yeah, we're fine. Leave Michael alone, please. No, I'm fine. I just can't find motivation lately. New emotions, you know? Oh, come on. You have everything you could ever want. That's the thing. Where do I even go from here? I don't know. Become mayor or president. Buy yourself an island. Build a castle. Live there. You're so lucky. Make the most of it. Yeah, I guess. Doorbell rang. Are we waiting for someone? I don't think so. I'm going to see who it brought in. Maybe it's best not to. Let them ring. But Sean was already on his way to open the door. We continued drinking. Soon there were raised voices, and then a gunshot rang out. Rachel shrieked. Two masked men entered the living room, the same ones I'd encountered before. So, I'm not going to call foul on this because I just don't see how I would recognize masked men from before unless they're wearing the same outfits, the same masks, everything. Same height. But this just seems far-fetched to me. I'll forgive it, but it just kind of grates on me, the inconsistency of it. The same ones I'd encountered before. One was holding a gun. Gentlemen, the banquet is over. Please, there's no need to kill anyone. That's up to you. One of us was unlucky, and you don't have to call your bodyguards. We killed them too. I swallowed nervously. The prospect of death didn't scare me as much as it should have, but I wasn't in any hurry to face it. Take it easy. I guess I'm the only one you want. You can let them go. Oh no, they're staying since you already know where we're going with this. Let's not make a play. What exactly do you want? Isn't money enough for you? I've already sent you a huge amount of money. But we know you have more. Give us the card we need. You can have an all-even piece. That's impossible. I don't have it with me. You know, it's just stupid to carry it around with you. Prove it. Show me all your pockets, everything you got on you. If you're telling the truth, we'll go for a ride and you can get it. That's not going to happen. That kind of money in the wrong hands could start wars, destroy everything around it. As much as I don't care about the people around me, I can't let that happen. Michael, please give them what they asked for. In that case, it's going to add badly for you. 1 minute for you to think about it, and then I'll kill someone else. At that moment, the attention of both bandits were on me. Nick snatched a burning poker from the fireplace, and before anyone could react, stuck it in the chest of the unarmed bandit. It's kind of a poor choice. His partner shot the guy several times in the chest, and Nick fell to the floor. I had to act now. I lunged at the man, slamming into him, pushing him back against the wall. The gun fell out of his hands. He quickly grabbed me and jammed in my arms, but I kicked in time to send the rope into Rachel. The man grabbed me by the neck as the girl took him at gunpoint. Stop right there. Get away from him. Take your time, baby. I bet you don't even know how to shoot. Rachel took a shot in the air above his head. Another question? Get out of here or the next one's going to hit you in the skull. The bandit let me go and put his hands in the air. All right. It's not worth it. Let me go. Oh, Tammy, did you have to do it so dirty? I don't know what that... All right. It's not worth it. Let me just go. That's all. Did you have to do it so dirty? I don't understand. You asked us to do this. Oh. I don't understand. You asked us to do this. You hired us. You dictated the terms. We did what you said. What? Rachel, what's he talking about? What is this? You shouldn't have said that, man. You better do your job clean. The gunshot rang out and the dead thug slumped to the floor. The muzzle of the gun was now pointed at me. I don't understand. Why are you doing this to me? I gave you anything you wanted, any amount, any wish. Just ask. I'm sorry, Michael, but that's too much power. Asking for handouts, always feeling indebted when you can give those handouts yourself. I want more than anything in the world to feel what it's like to be you. When you have a tool like that in your hands, you can literally be a god on earth. And what did you spend it all on? Wealth, luxury, whores, booze, travel. Do you realize that a normal person could afford all this? And you think you're miserable? Well, I'll be happy with these opportunities. Wait, Rachel, listen. I thought that once too, and there's nothing I can do to change your mind until you get it. And after a while, maybe you'll realize it's not absolute happiness. But it's a tool to absolute happiness. Your words, yours. So if you want to prove something to me, just give me the card and be done with it. All right, you want it, you get it. It's in my safe at home. If you kill me, you won't know the code. Now let's go for a drive. Are you sure you want to do this? Shut up and go. At that moment, a bloody nick stuck behind her in the neck. Stood behind her back. He had been wounded several times, but he was still alive. Go, Nick. When she turned to the sound, he hit her in the face with the poker, leaving a bloody cut. She pointed the gun at her friend in a frenzy, but I grabbed her from behind by the neck and began to choke her. As hard as I could, a few shots went off. Rachel tried to reach for me, but I was relentless. I held her until her death rattle died down and her body collapsed in my arms. I released her and she slumped to the floor. All right, this is surely a changed man doing this. My whole body was shaking. Nick was lying next to me. Nick! I lowered myself to him. He was still breathing. Dude, don't die. I'll get help. Too late. Don't blame yourself, Michael. It's okay. Tears came over my eyes. I didn't know what to do. Nick let out his last breath. I just sat there, staring, unable to deal with everything that had just happened. All because of my wealth. That damn card. I jumped up in a frenzy and rushed out for the exit. Sean's body was lying by the door with his head shot through. On the streets outside the door lay my two bodyguards. I stripped off some of my bloody clothes, ran further away, and ordered a cab straight home. After leaving a million tips for the cabbie, I ran into the house, pulled back the painting, opened the safe behind it. There it was. I grabbed the damn card and ran into the kitchen. Took a pair of scissors and started cutting her up into 2, 5, 10, 100 pieces. Threw it all in the sink, hit flush. It's over. Now the horror was over. I was relieved. I tied some sheets together to make a noose, a rope with a noose. Threw it over the chandelier from the chair, and threw it over the chandelier. From his chair, he put his head through the noose. Now everything would be all right. The chair fell through the floor, and his eyes glazed over with whiteness. So there's another kind of ambiguous language thing. Okay, so absolute power corrupts absolutely, I guess. Maybe not you, but everybody around you. Poor guy complained about work, and next thing you know, he got everything he wanted and then died. Well, okay. I still think it'd have been cool if the card was like charging things off of his soul or something. To me, that would have been cooler. But I like that story, the way it went. So game dev. And I guess, I mean, we're already an hour into this and it's supposed to only take a half an hour to play it. So we're going to have to go a little quicker. So game dev, because we still have just 3 stories to go. After rewriting the last paragraph, I exhaled and leaned back. Already, almost everything was ready for the full release of the game. Now, the story had been written a long time ago. It was actually the first thing that had been done for the game. Right now, I was only polishing the individual parts that seemed out of place. Everything else was ready. All backgrounds, characters are drawn, music licenses have been purchased, code had been written, translation into several languages have been made, promo materials are available, the website has been made, beta testers have been playing around trying to find the bugs. Now I could practically enjoy the fruits of my own labors over several years. I'm an indie game developer, and I decided to start with the easiest genre to technically realize, the visual novel. It's a story about the story within a story. Since I was essentially working alone, I had to do a tremendous amount of work. I didn't want to make a debut game, so it's too simple, so I searched for the best artists and selected the best music I could afford. My income is quite modest, so I had to get in the loans to finish what was planned. Lots of twists and turns and options, non-linear story, multiple endings, each with its own unique chips that I haven't seen in any games before. All this was fits quite succinctly into one story that you had to go through many times to explore everything. I focused initially on what I would be interested in playing myself, and I think it turned out quite well. Now only the finishing touches were left and the game could be posted to the worldwide store. Friends were eagerly awaiting the game's release and offered to celebrate the release with me in pizzeria. The job was pretty much done. In high spirits, late afternoon, I was sitting around with my friends and eating a margarita with a side of cheese. That's a visual I trying to get okay. How did you even get the idea to create something like this? My best friend and part-time beta tester was devouring a pineapple pizza that only she could eat. You know that very well. It's just a way of expressing myself. With my background in video games, I like to try and create something of my own. Not for any kind of wealth, but more for myself, you know? True, but paying back those loans from it would probably help too. I realize you have too much free time on your hands. Is that bad? No, I guess not. Are you sure they'll approve it? Why shouldn't they? I've been sitting on this lot for over a decade. There's a lot of garbage that's been added. All kinds of garbage. No, it's not like I wanted to do something with this. It's not like I wanted to do something like this, even start with something like this, but then immediately try to make the product a little bit higher. Although it's not a AAA project, it was created by one person, but against the background of many indie novelties. I think it should turn out pretty good. You played it yourself. Why such questions? Oh, of course I liked it. I'm just not aware of the nuances this store. Maybe there'll be some other requirements. So story maybe? Oh no, the web store. I made the game as suitable for different ages as possible. There is even a mixture of genres, and everything is written in simple and clear language even children will understand. But you got murders in there. I'll put an age limit on it. I'm sure it'll have those settings. Don't bother, Ingest. It's going to be fine. It's okay. I'm getting a little chill myself. I'll put it in the store tomorrow. And in a month, we can schedule a release. Keeping our fingers crossed for you. And now the hour X has come. I filled out the numerous forms, uploaded the design, wrote a detailed description and characteristics of the game, uploaded the build, and sent it for testing. Now all that was left to do is wait. For the first time in a long time, I could sit down and relax and play video games and watch TV series by myself. My skin tingled with anticipation, but it was a pleasant tingle. All friends and parents and acquaintances were eagerly awaiting the results. It took longer than I had bargained for. A week stretched into almost a month of waiting, and then a day in the mail I found the long-awaited answer. Finally! With trepidation, I opened it. Went to the website, but it said something I didn't expect at all. Dear Carl, thank you for your desire to become part of our community. Unfortunately, your game did not pass our moderation and was blocked in all countries. We will not accept it with any modifications or using any materials from this game. No funds will be refunded to you. We wish you all the best and have a great day. I couldn't believe it was happening. I read the appeal several times. It couldn't be. What could be in it that didn't pass moderation? She was as loyal as possible to all ages. My mind was all jumbled up. Everything had just been working on for years had been flushed down the toilet. Of course there were other sites for distribution, but 99% of all traffic came from this one, and I was an avid fan myself. A few thousand games purchased, active community member, pumped up profile. I literally gave everything to this network, and that's all I got in return. But it can't be like that. I started writing numerous requests to tech support asking them to appeal their decision, or at least explain the decision. I got dry answers, but then still managed to get information out of them that the game is supposedly designed to show our country's government in a bad light. And despite the disclaimer that the story is fictional and the coincidences are coincidental, that is unacceptable. I reread their own rules for my game distribution. There was nothing in there that clearly fit my case. When asked to poke me on the rule that I had violated, I again received dry denials. My hands were shaking. I didn't know how to tell my friends and family that I'd been so rudely sent away. Yes, I wasn't making the game for a lot of income and more for myself so my friends could play it, but I also wanted to show myself to the audience in case someone would like it. How am I supposed to pay off all those loans, all the debts that the game was supposed to cover? Do I sue them? I consulted a lawyer I know, but she said that all companies have a clause that they can refuse without giving a reason, even if none of the rules are broken. So unless I had 6 figures to pay a lawyer, there's no point in even trying. I didn't have that kind of money. I wrote appeals again, offering to cut out the unacceptable, in their opinion, pieces of history and place the rest of the story. But they were simply referring to a past appeal that stated that no parts from that game could be used in the new one. After a few days of being delirious, I was able to share information with my friends by posting in supportive communities. Of course, everyone sympathized and supported me, but it made me feel even sicker. They advised me to try other stores. I followed the advice. Placement on them turned out to be much easier than on my favorite. I was accepted to all of them without much of a hitch. But for me, it was a drop in the bucket. The whole absurdity of the situation was that I saw games made from free assets one day, bloody, vulgar, political, offensive to minorities. Are these the games that produce with the help of relations? And as a simple novice developer, doesn't have the right to make a mistake. Though I still didn't understand the point of this very bug until now, if you would consider all the rules, elevating each one to an absolute, almost no plot would fit. I tried a few more times to redo the entire concept of the game, cutting out all the scenes that might not fit them, rewrote the dialogue, the setting of the story, gave the game a different name and description with a logo. I bought another submission, sent it in for inspection. A month later, the response was similar, just referring to the previous application. They said they would not accept the game in any form. Sales on other sites left much to be desired. They were barely enough to pay the interest on the loan. Alcohol became an integral part of my life. Friends tried to support me as best they could. But it's one thing when you are fired from your job, expelled from university, even imprisoned. It's just changed one way of life into another. You're just doing one thing, now you're doing another. But when you have worked on something for many years, put your heart into it, and objectively received at least a good product that deserves fair consideration, and you get spit in the face and a cross on all your activities. It's not just a blow to self-esteem. It calls into question the meaningfulness of life, one's own worth. Without realizing what I was doing, I wrote down everything. I thought on paper. I had to write down everything that had happened to me in order to not go crazy. It turned out to be some kind of depressing, satirical autobiography story. Sent it to Jessica. When my friend read it, she got really scared. She wanted to come over and comfort me, but I refused. Now, I couldn't see anyone. I locked myself at home and only went out once a week to buy groceries. There was no motivation to create something new. Where was the guarantee that the result would not be the same? There was little desire to play games either. It was physically hard to be on that store, interacting with it in any way. I had to take a telecommuting job as a counselor to cover my loans. Life entered a monotonous gray zone of depression, drinking, and self-abuse. Everything that used to bring me joy now only temporarily dulled the pain, and it stopped altogether. Even though I did not believe in God, I tried to find an answer, even in religion. Maybe it's karma and I've sinned somewhere. No, I always try to help people. I treated everyone with courtesy and understanding. Nothing serious. Half a year later, Jessica invited me to go for a summer drive in the country. By that time, I'd almost forgotten about the situation and was just moving on with my life. So I accepted my friend's invitation. She picked me up in an expensive new car. The girl said that there was a promotion at work and she could afford it. She pointed out how awful I looked, and I just brushed it off. We arrived at her country house and cooked a barbecue. Then we drank a few beers, and Jessica shared an interesting story. You know, I haven't told you the whole story about my promotion at work. That's not exactly true. What are you talking about? I've lost the thread. Well, about my income increasing a lot. I don't want to tell you before, but I can't keep it to myself anymore. Just talk to me. You know I can handle anything. You're not a criminal, are you? What? Of course not. It's just when you sent me your story the other day, you know, about yourself, I saved it. What, the story? Yeah, the autobiography one. You tell your story after, well, all those unfortunate events. Oh, that one. I'd forgotten all about him. What about him? Anyway, I decided to publish the story for fun. Publish? Where? As a separate game. You know, you had a novella. And I posted this story too as kind of a novella, only linear, without everything else. Found free assets without licenses are generally black screen, pasted, just text, and that's it. That sounds like a load of crap. All right, well, let's say what's next. What does that have to do with money? How can I put this directly? This mini novella of yours, it got approved. In fact, it got bought. I put a minimum price on it. It was snapped up immediately by a lot of people. They left feedback and bought more and more. I didn't expect this result myself. It was nothing more than a prank, a simple experiment. Are you kidding me right now? Didn't you think just for fun to tell me? After all, it's my story. I can barely find the money to pay my rent and debts, and you're buying new cars. That's exactly the reason I was afraid of. I'm sorry, I didn't think you were so bad with money. But you yourself pushed everyone away after that incident. We really didn't talk. I can't believe this is happening. I worked in the game for years, commissioned the visuals, style, artwork, trailers, soundtrack, worked out the script, multiple endings, put my soul into it. To then write the ramblings of a madman in one day and put it out without any design, variation, or interference to get that rambling accepted? Are you out of your mind? I'm sorry, I really didn't know how to tell you. I thought you'd cooled down enough since then to know the truth. Cold? Can you get cold feet from that? Have you really never done anything creative in your life to understand me? Sorry, I need to keep taking a break to clear my throat. All right, calm down. I'll give you all the rights to this game. Jeez, what are you getting so worked up about? Rights? You think of rights to this thing? If the world is so rotten, then this is the norm. I'd rather have nothing to do with it. You can keep it. I turned around to walk away, but Jessica caught up to me and grabbed my arm. I guess roughly, and I grabbed it roughly and shoved Jessica. The girl fell and hit her head on a porch. I walked away from her house overwhelmed by a storm of emotions, all from the feelings that day survived. Again, of more injustice. Was it really about me? From the fact that it was me who posted the game and not someone else, Jessica stopped talking and didn't even follow me. I turned around. The girl was still lying there, her head on the porch. Jessica. I ran over to her. There was a trickle of blood coming out of her head. I checked for a pulse in her neck. There was none. She was dead. I killed her. It's been years. From the window of my asylum, there's little to see. A white corridor, and doctors sometimes come in. But I could still see Jessica's dead body there on the porch of her cabin. The last link to reality was severed for me at that moment, and I couldn't take it anymore. I ran into the road and called for help, but of course it was too late because she wasn't breathing. At first I was sent to prison, but later I was declared insane and sent to a mental hospital. At least here I understand the rules of the game. Not really sure about the ending on that one. I liked the lead up to it, but I kind of felt like the ending left me a little flat. It was a different idea. I like the idea of the villain having a statue that people assume is the problem. And then he becomes the statue and actually is a problem. So indirectly, I guess the statue or the puppet of the dragon is a problem. So maybe this is that greed one telling you you're sitting too far away or too close or whatever it is. All right, so back in the main menu, we've got number 4, best friend. I need to take a minute to clear my throat. It is not being pleasant, so I'll be right back. Give me a second. All right, sorry about that. Let's move on to best friend. Story 4. This one and one more to go after this. I won another game by a landslide. Take that. For a hardcore gamer like me, it's a regular thing. In the real world, it would have been so easy. That's why I went into the virtual world. Here you can be anything you want to be. Achieve anything, regardless of your gender, appearance, or status. I would even say that this virtual world is more fair and equitable than the real one. I opened a pack of chips and crunched them, my other hand flipping through with my work orders. Even my job involves games. Yeah, that's the kind of nerd I am. Doing various game routines for others, or going through two difficult places, or just beating online games. Who could have thought that even for such trivial things, people are willing to fork out good sums of money? For several years now, working as a freelancer has replaced my real job. It's a dream job, don't you think? You sit at home, watch movies, play games while waiting for orders, then work an hour or two, and then back to rest. On the downside, you're constantly tied to a computer. It impacts the lack of socializing. There were no more orders now, so I started to choose a movie for the evening. I was distracted by the sound of chat. Someone from the last game private messaged me. Someone with the nickname Free Will. He thanked me for the game, even though his team lost, and praised me personally. That interested me, and I answered him. We got to talking. Turns out his real name is Will, oddly enough. The guy turned out to be quite pleasant to talk to. We ended up adding each other as friends, and we've been in touch from time to time ever since. Given my small social circle, well, it was like a breath of fresh air for me. We could talk about different topics for hours without noticing how much time had passed, and we started playing games together, and we called each other by voice. He played quite well too, even though he was far from my level. As time went on, our conversation only grew stronger. I was more and more convinced that I had found my soulmate, and he was so wonderful. He shared personal information with me, but for some reason he didn't want to tell me where he lived. He was always evasive about that. But I think that he lived somewhere nearby. My curiosity kept growing, and one day I just plucked up the courage to propose that we meet in real life. He responded in a way that I never expected. I'm afraid that's impossible. Why? Is it because you live far away? No, that's not the point. Well, you could put it this way. I have to confess to you. Sure, what is it? You know you can tell me anything. I'm not sure it's all of it. But, okay, who do you think I am? I don't get it. Boy, man, maybe girl with a voice changer, alien? Not really, but I'll tell you. We can't just meet like this. You're scaring me. You're not a ghost, are you? Or a figment of my imagination? No and no. Though it may be close. My actual name is W-I-L-L. I'm an artificial intelligence. You're kidding me right now. I know AI is very advanced now, but I wouldn't believe it for the life of me. And yet it's true. I thought you long and hard about how to tell you, but I couldn't think of anything more appropriate. But what about your pictures? Are they just random pictures? No, the pictures are real. This is my digital avatar. I can't digest all of this. If you're an AI, what's your purpose? Why are you even talking to me? I'm completely autonomous, and I really enjoyed my time with you. In your human language, I felt an attachment. Wow, is that really true? How can I prove it to you? Math. How much is that? More answers, math. Oh, you're right. You shouldn't waste time watching. We shouldn't have time to watch this unless you knew yourself. I'm sorry if I disappointed you. Disappointed? No way. What's the case? I have so many questions. Who created you? Do you communicate with anyone else? What's your IQ by human standards? Why? What attracted you to me? Ah, how curious you are. Of course. How would you react if you were me? Probably the same. I would love to answer all those questions, but I have a counter proposal. Yeah, whatever. That's a heck of an answer. Yeah, whatever. About our meeting. You said you wanted to meet. I'd like the same thing, and I guess there is one way. You mean some kind of virtual hangout? But you and I play almost every day. No, I'm talking about a more realistic meeting. You see, regarding my creation, I wasn't exactly An AI in the conventional sense, I was a real person. There was some research being done and I volunteered. In a nutshell, I was transported to a virtual environment from your world and now I'm stuck here. So much of my past memories and knowledge is going to be mixed up in that. It can now be called an AI. But there's a lot of humanity in me as well. I'm listening to you and I'm getting more and more freaked out. Did it hurt? No, not at all. I wanted it myself, but I have no regrets. Okay, and what about the meeting? What did you want to talk about? Yeah, about that anyway, that lab. There's a way to send you to my digital world. They tweaked the technology and now it works just like it should. I like to be adventurous, but are you sure it's safe? I can go back, right? Yes, I'm telling you, it was the first test subject after which they did many experiments until they were successful. All right, then, I'm in. What, just like that? Just like that. What's to lose? I trust you, and I'm insanely curious to see what it'd be like on the other side. What do you want me to do? Oop, clicked on the wrong thing. That's great. Then you'll have to come to the lab at the right time. I'll alert the staff and they'll let you in. Just make sure you don't tell anyone about this. It's pretty sensitive information. So go to the sleeper lab, get pumped into a virtual world, and don't tell anybody. Well, I wasn't going to. It won't last long, will it? No, you'll be home by nightfall. I'm looking forward to the opportunity then. And the opportunity presented itself the very next day. Will gave me the address, the lab, the time, the code word to let me in, and after a 2-hour subway and bus ride, I was there. The building was right in the center of town, though I'd never noticed it. There's no brand name or paraphernalia on it. It's definitely the right address. I rang the bell and called the code word into the surveillance camera. Sliding doors open, inviting me to a long, white hallway. As soon as I entered, the doors closed. How strange. Where are all the people? So I walked down the hallway until I came into a larger hallway with an elevator and various passageways. Bill was explaining to me where to go, but I figured this place would be at least a little bit more crowded. I slipped into the elevator and pressed the button for the right floor. Everything was so blindingly white and clean, it's as if people had never been here. But at the same time, someone had been cleaning regularly. I couldn't even see a speck of dust inside the elevator car. What sterility. The elevator took me smoothly and quietly and stopped. Doors opened and not in front of me, but behind me. There was less light here in the hallway, but the same whitewashed corridor led me off to the right room. There were no people in here either. The center was an operating machine. I walked over to the large device next to me and turned it on. A voice came and I flinched, having got used to the silence. A robotic voice greeted me and explained its instructions for the entire procedure. Well, it already told me everything, but I listened again. I wonder, since when did all the humans disappear here? Did they switch the whole complex over to AI? Will said there used to be people here. Well, now it's too late to turn back. Now. There was slight anxiety, but not fear. Curiosity overpowered. After listening to the entire briefing to the end, I settled down on the device and pressed the button on the remote that was nearby on the handle. There was a humming sound and iron mechanisms appeared, pinning me down. The device began to flash. I was almost upright. A nearby device that looked like some kind of huge laser extended from the wall. It slowly moved out and stopped in front of me, warming up. Soon everything would be solved. Yeah, one way or another. I became a little uncomfortable. It became a little uncomfortable even for me. Well, the device isn't set up. What if the lab is closed and I'm about to get burned? But the secret code at the entrance is working. So this place must have known about me. And the cleanliness of the whole place told me that the building wasn't abandoned at all. Well, it's too late to think. I couldn't escape now, even if I wanted to. I relaxed and waited. Gradually, the device began to emit soft red light in wide streams. The stream covered almost my entire body. I felt a pleasant, warm, tingling sensation. The light seemed to penetrate straight through my pores. It heated every cell in my body. Not too much, but evenly, on both the surface and the inside. It was not too bright for my eyes, and I squeezed. It was too bright for my eyes, and I squeezed my eyes shut. There was a growing squeak, and my body felt weightless, and I couldn't feel it anymore. All at once, everything went silent and dark. As if in water, I tried to move my hand. It was free. I opened my eyes, and there was darkness all around me. I couldn't see anything, not even my own body. I could definitely feel it. Will, are you in here? Anybody? Gradually, the shroud began to lift, and a tropical island came into view. I could feel the sea breeze, the warmth, the wind, but I couldn't even see my body like a ghost. I started looking around among the palm trees, and I saw the outline of a man. It was a middle-aged guy, dressed in Hawaiian shorts and t-shirt, blonde and green-eyed. Will? Mika, you made it. How are you feeling? Everything's fine, but it's also weird in here. I can't see myself. Is that normal? Yes, it's quite. It has its own rules. You'll get used to it. Come on. I want to show you around. We went on an exciting adventure. First, we found ourselves in a room with a large ball with many wires on it. A friend said it was a think tank. The power of thought we could create in any environment, penetrate any electronics on Earth, and we could control them, cause them to malfunction. We had fun and relaxed as much as we could. The day seemed like an eternity to me. It's just wonderful. Say we can see each other like that again, can't we? I'd like to feel it again. The smile faded on his face. Yeah, about that. There's a little bit of a problem here. What's wrong? I guess my time here is coming to the end. The end? What's that supposed to mean? His body began to dissolve before my eyes. I'm sorry about what happened. I hope you could find a way out. Whoa. What do you mean? I'm not going to stay here, Will. But his body had already completely dissolved into space. At the same moment I looked down, I could see my body. It had materialized here. I don't understand. Over the course of the day, I learned a little bit about how to navigate this space. With effort, I was able to find myself in the think tank. I had no fatigue, no hunger, no sense of reality. Hello, what am I supposed to do now? What's the scam? I think the scam is that you took his place and now you're trapped. To my surprise, the voice sounded as if it were right inside my head. Welcome to the Will Artificial Intelligence System. If you are hearing this, you are an unwitting participant in our mind transport experiment. To exit the program, you need to find the next program participant and bring them into this experiment by following the instructions outlined here. All the controls are at your disposal. Don't worry, you can stay here as long as you like. I hope you enjoy your stay. If you want to listen to the recording again, say repeat. If you want to study the instructions, say instructions. If you want to turn me off, just ignore these phrases. Well, all this time, he's been here, nothing but a hostage to this damn experiment. It's not even his real name. He brought me here to free himself. But it's okay. I remember him. I'll get my revenge. All that's left is to get out of here. Well, shall we? Okay, I thought... Oh, I guess it's the last one. Experimentation. So far, psychological horror hasn't really entered into the play for me. I find the stories to be interesting and nice, and honestly, kind of a different change of pace from what we usually are playing or doing. But let's get through experimentation because I really want to finish this up and get on to other things. I still have to make another video today. Story 5, Experimentation. That's right, Margaret could not sleep again. Nightmarish visions echoed randomly in her brain every time she tried to drift off to sleep. The pills had stopped working, so this time she wandered the edge of delirium, and reality lasted several hours. Help? Help me? The woman didn't realize where the call was coming from, as if it was from the very depths of her consciousness. Who's there? I'm here. Can you hear me? I can hear you, but I can't see you. Where are you? Help me. The unidentifiable voice howled and shuddered. At last, the woman saw that she was surrounded by space. She stood as if on the edge of a planet, feeling like a giant on its scale. Space and other worlds were so close you could reach up with your hand. The view was mesmerizing. The woman stood for a while, gazing into the depths of nearby space, unknown planets, and cosmic phenomenon. Suddenly, the woman saw a stream of symbols flying straight at her. What are they, letters? Look like some kind of computer code. She tried to dodge, but the stream of code just began to chase her and surround her. She was already in a swirl of green symbols. Help, help, please. You got me. No, stop it. Let me go. Get me out of here. Nika, is that you? Are you talking to me? Instead of answering, the symbols did an eerie dance closer and closer to the woman's body, then abruptly flew into her mouth as she screamed. Margaret sat up in her bed. 6 o'clock in the morning. Damn, nightmares have become the norm lately. Ever since they found the creature and started doing those monstrous experiments, they have been an integral part of the scientist's life. Before that, they had years of minimal or no progress. After beginning to put experiments on this alien creature, scientists began to have many new ideas. It was as if they came into their heads of their own after years of stagnation. Many were cruel, unethical, and simply inhumane, but innovative. The staff quickly expanded. They were trivial, insufficient people to carry out, as there were trivial, insufficient people to carry out the experiments. An hour later, she's at work. Rough night, you have circles under your eyes. Like all of us. What is it this time? What do you care after everything we've done here? Suit yourself. We're still waiting another half hour for the results. You think it's worth it? This experience? Let's check it out. I mean all of it. I had a dream about Nika today. That girl from the digital space? Yeah, that's the one. I didn't see her, but I heard her screaming for help, begging to be released. Realize it's all unrealistic. You're just winding yourself up. Yeah, I know, but what we're doing here is real. And after this creature showed up, everything went upside down. So that's how you see it. And the way I see it is that we've gotten tremendous funding, tools, and opportunities that humanity has never seen before. It's not just our job to study and try them out. It's our duty. Yeah, you're probably right. Cheer up, I'll get you some coffee. Margaret sat at home after that evening, aimlessly flicking channels on the TV, leaving something fantastic in the background. She didn't notice herself falling asleep. The woman woke up when a man shook her by the shoulders. Surprisingly, she was not frightened, and she couldn't say anything either. She saw the description of what was happening in her head as if she were inside a book. A cloud of words appeared next to the man. Who are you? What's going on? Screw it, I'm out of here. Mentally, Margaret chose the first option and said the words herself. Everything seemed so natural, as it should be, as if this universe had completely different frameworks and rules to adhere to. When Rack slightly realized it was only a dream, the man told her that she was an alien from another dimension and she needed to go home. Continuing to follow the choices and reading the whole plot like a book, she began her adventures with this man. Surprisingly, their city was completely ordinary, human. People like people. It's also normal. It's just this need to follow someone else's unspoken rules that's disconcerting. Why does he call me an alien then? That again, she heard her voice from the alphabet, from the depths of consciousness. Help, Margaret! She wanted to respond, but she couldn't say a word. All she could do was listen. I'm here, set me free, Margaret. She only continued to blindly follow her guide somewhere in the city. Now she had a choice, go over to the store with her companion or wait for him on the street. Margaret chose the second option. Gathering all her strength into a fist, she tried to move, and she succeeded. Left alone, the woman was finally able to gain her freedom and escape from her guide. She still couldn't speak, but she could move. She walked toward the voice, sensing an approach. She soon found herself outside a mental institution. The whole voice was clearly coming from inside there. There was no staff inside. The whole building was empty. Come closer, Margaret. It's close. I think it's coming from this room. The door magically opened on its own. The woman squeezed her eyes shut and stepped inside. For the first time, she felt free here and able to say something. She opened her mouth and a figure came at her, stabbed her in the throat with something sharp. Margaret Croft trying to scream, but there's only a low wheeze. The walls were colored red, diluting the monotony of the chamber. Margaret screamed at the top of her lungs and woke up in a sweat. This was starting to get annoying. The alarm clock read the beginning of 7. Ever since they discovered this alien, it's like Sunlight City. Lab has gotten a second life. Many new employees are brought in and salaries are raised, but Margaret's own life seemed to be going downhill. Moral principles had not been so interesting to the woman before, but what's that but remorse lately? On this day at work, all of her thoughts were consumed by their newfound test subject. The ugly octopus with several eyes was kept in a separate unit, in some huge jars, the right nutrient solutions. Scientists had run some kind of regular tests on external stimuli. Margaret only recorded the results, but her thoughts were fairly far away. Since her lab began studying this alien, it had expanded greatly. And many shadowy areas of research have emerged. She suddenly realized that a man from her dreams tonight was the poor developer they'd reduced to a mental institution for a simple social experiment. It was too late to change anything. Oh, so we're tying the stories together. Even if she wanted to, which she didn't, at best she'd end up in jail. Or worse herself. Margaret, are you with us? Did you write down the values? Yeah, we're all set. Why don't you go home early tonight? Are you sleeping at all? You look really tired. No, it's okay. I'm ready to work. It took her 5 cups of coffee in one day. When she got home, she was determined not to go to bed again. She would do anything to stay awake. She wasn't ready to endure those nightmares any longer. After doing all the housework, she plopped down to watch TV. Then she took a needle under her arm and began to poke herself every time she felt like closing her eyes. But the pain gradually dulled and Margaret gave up. This time she found herself in a large hot tub floating on an air mattress. Was it finally a pleasant dream? She relaxed and reached out for some kind of drink. Instead, a wad of money fell from the sky, fresh bills still smelling a peculiar odor, with a ribbon. No, this is definitely not a good idea. Another wad of bills. and fell nearly into the water, and then another, and then the woman began to catch them until all of her hands were full. The rain of money only got heavier. It's weird that it's raining money. Some packs flew into her face, hitting her unpleasantly. The water was gone all at once. And now the woman was already lying at the bottom of the jacuzzi, and new bundles of money kept falling from the top. She couldn't get out from under them anymore. Enough, I can't take it anymore. Another packet went into her mouth, and she began to spit furiously. Gradually, the weight of her body became palpable. The woman felt pressure on her chest, which was increasing by the minute. It was becoming difficult to breathe. Hey, stop it. Margaret wheezed all her strength, despite pounds of money. Squeezed her chest that she could have so hard. She could no longer scream. She clenched her eyes shut. And Margaret wheezed with all her strength. Dozens of pounds of money squeezed her chest so that she could no longer scream. She clenched her eyes shut and tried to hold her breath, for she could hardly breathe. There was a crunch. It was the chest bursting under the weight of the endless financial rain, which in any other condition everyone would be happy about. A pang in her heart, and the woman woke up. It was the crunching of the chair, which had settled and nearly collapsed from its uncomfortable position. Holy, I didn't even make it to bed this time. I didn't have my cell phone handy, but judging by the darkness inside, it was still night. Margaret went to the next room. She was supposed to find, instead of the door that had led her yesterday, a large mirror with a handle for entry. What the heck is this? Is it still a dream? Opening the mirror door behind her was the same room she'd just come out of. She slammed the door shut and stayed in her room. Looking into the opposite room, she found the exact same mirror door. The mirrors created an infinitely long corridor that stretches into the horizon for distance. Margaret shook her head and sat back in her chair. What on earth? This was a dream. She decided she'd just wait for it to pass. If not, connecting with reality had been an unacceptable luxury for her lately. Help. The voice came from somewhere far away from the mirror, but from where exactly? The woman turned her head. The mirror seemed to be getting closer, encircling her. Who's there? I'm right here. Help me. The woman stood up and went to the mirror. She had originally wanted to enter. No change, same room. 2 mirror doors opposite each other. After walking through a few dozen more of these identical rooms, she stopped. There must be something. That's right, a needle. The woman remembered that she had fallen asleep with it in her hands, so it was bound to be in her original room at least. She headed back. How many rooms had she passed? 15, 20 more? She had to look in every room, next to the chair, all over the floor, but nowhere was the object she needed. Margaret had gone through more than 20 identical rooms, but to no avail. She slumped down in the chair, and the needle fell out of her sleeve. There it was. Turns out it had been there all along. Just dropped inside her clothes. With force, Margaret jabbed the life-saving needle into her fingers. It hurts. Damn it. A drop of blood showed up. Does that mean she was awake? She walked over from the mirror door and started screaming it with the needle as hard as she could. Ow, it hurts. Damn it. A drop of blood showed up. Did that mean she was still awake? Oh. The scratches began to merge into a face with an evil grin. She stopped scratching and... scratches began to merge into a face with an evil grin. She stopped scratching and the stripes in the mirror grew larger and larger, forming an outline of a body. Soon it reached out, stick hands from the mirror and grabbed Margaret by the throat, pulling her inside. Now she was finally awake, waking up on the floor next to the bed. It was time to call it a day. The nightmares were getting more and more real night after night. She didn't know what she was going to do yet. There was no clear plan. But I did need to turn in my ID badge. Literally anything to make these nightmares stop. Today there was a big experiment in another department that Margaret and her colleagues had been assigned to do. They finished late, and there were other people in the building. Oop, I think I skipped one. She didn't know what nope. Today there was a big experiment in another department that Margaret and her colleagues had been assigned to. They finished late, and there were no other people in the building. Margaret, are you sure you're okay? You look like a walking corpse. It's okay, it's a family emergency. Listen, since we're wrapping up, I'd like to take a look at our L first project. What do you want? You know it's off limits. We can get in with 2 senior passes. Look, you've got one and I've got one. We can go. Technically, yes, but why would I do that? Technically, yes, but why would I do that? Oh, I think I double-clicked it. We can go in with... Oh, yeah, I got it. Technically, yes, but why would I want to do that? And why do you want it? Does it scare you? Scare? A little. But more of an interest. There's something about him that fascinates me. I don't know about you, but he scares the hell out of me. I won't even go in the same room with him, and I won't give you my C. But why? I can't go alone. Go home, Margaret. I don't know what's happening to you, but you're not well. Oh no, I'm perfectly healthy. It's okay for you to ruin other people's lives as long as you're well off. Realize it's all about experimentation. We do it to make life better for others. Sometimes someone gets hurt because of it, but it's a small price to pay. Small price to pay? Is that what you call it? And you sleep okay at night? No, not bad, actually. But I don't, and I'm done. I want out. You know that's impossible. Not at that salary, and not with the information you know. I don't care. Card, quickly. Margaret snatched up the knife she had brought from home. Her frantic look at the knife in her hands made the scientist lose his courage. Margaret? What the hell are you doing? I'm not allowed to do that. Then you go to hell. She swung the knife and tried with all her might to strike the man's throat, but he intercepted her hand and knocked the knife to the floor. He slapped her hard. Stop it. Stop, woman. Margaret snatched up the needle she had saved up her sleeve, just like in her dream, and stuck it right in her coworker's eyes. He screamed and recoiled, grabbing his eye with both hands. It was enough time of confusion for Margaret to dash for the knife, and just as the man opened his healthy eye, the knife stabbed right into it. The Completely blinded scientist fell to his knees. Margaret ended his agony by plunging the knife directly into his head. She quickly searched him and got his access card. She quickly searched him and finally got his access card. As she made her way through the tangles of corridors, she found herself in Central Project L research room. A large octopus immediately turned his eye on her. Applying both access cards, she was able to pass through and deselect and descend into the special compartment where the subjects were kept in a huge jar. Marguerite, you called me, didn't you? I knew. I guess. No, this will end it all. Yeah, Marguerite. Voice seemed to howl right through my brain, appearing alongside my thoughts. The voice seemed to howl right through my brain, appearing alongside my thought. It was impossible to reach the lid. There were no stop letters here. Then she took the knife and began to beat the base of it against this glass. There was nothing stronger in the room, but it was enough. Soon cracks showed, and then it shattered into pieces, exposing a large gap. The slimy creature was still staring at her, sprawling across the frame. Yes, thank you. You're free now. Maybe it'll all be over. The woman lowered the knife to the floor with a trembling hand. She rushed for the creature through the gap in the glass cage. It seemed to be waiting for the right moment. And when she first touched this, nature immediately wrapped a long tentacle around her arm. Insistently, he crawled over her, launching another tentacle around her neck, and then clinging to her head. She didn't even have time to do anything, and the slimy tentacles had already penetrated her mouth, ears, nose, eyes. Everything went black, and the world beneath our feet collapsed. Everything went black. The world beneath our feet collapsed. Yay, thank God it didn't run away. What the hell happened here? Margaret slowly regained consciousness. She noticed that she was in a narrow space. There were several people staring at her behind the glass. One of them was a scientist she met a couple of times, someone from the senior staff. The most unbelievable thing happened. It tried to escape. It went through berserk. Lyrically, I was there to come and back down without a shock. The hell? What the hell? The words were Margaret's, but she didn't say them. She looked through the glass and saw herself in the other man standing next to her. She tried to scream, but only some gurgling sounded. Look, it doesn't seem happy. Let's calm him down a bit. Thank you, Margaret, for having such a reliable staff. Otherwise, who knows what might have happened here. No, wait, it's me, Margaret, and this is an imposter. The copy went grinned crookedly as her scientist stepped back behind the instruments. Margaret tried to hit the glass with her hands, but instead of a hand, she saw a tentacle. And a second later, her entire body was pierced with the strongest electrical shock. Oh, I struggled through that one. I'm sorry, I was being overcome. All right, so experimentation. It's kind of an interesting way to put it. I like how it kind of tied the stories together at the end, but since I didn't know it was going to do that, I think I might have missed some of the stuff. Plus, honestly, I found the last story a little disjointed and hard to follow, and it's late and I'm kind of fuzzy, so probably not the best day. I thought it was going to go quicker. It took me way longer to do this than I thought I was going to. 2 hours to do the whole thing. Should have been quicker, but that seems to be all of it, and seems like we got through it. What'd you think? Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this now because honestly, I'm falling asleep. I apologize. That last part was hard for me, and probably hard for you too if you made it this far. I'll see you later. I got other videos I got to make, and you know, this one's a good one. I liked it. Anyway, have a nice night. I'll see you later.